Hello everybody. Today I'm reading chapter 25 for the second time. The first video didn't upload. So here we go. Chapter 25 begins on page 231. I'm on a roll now, boiling, burning, throwing up. Lions. Hey, why not? I stumbled through the glade, shouting Meg's name. I knew it was pointless, but yelling felt good. I looked for signs of broken branches or trampled ground. Surely 2 tank-sized ants would leave a trail I could follow. But I was not Artemis. I did not have my sister's skill with tracking. I had no idea which direction they'd taken my friend. I retrieved Meg's swords from the mud. Instantly they changed into gold rings, so small, so easily lost, like a mortal life. I may have cried. I tried to break my ridiculous combat ukulele, but the celestial bronze instrument defied my attempts. Finally, I yanked off the A string, threaded it through Meg's rings, and tied them around my neck. Meg, I will find you, I muttered. Her abduction was my fault. I was sure of this. By playing music and saving myself, I had broken my oath on the river Styx. Instead of punishing me directly, Zeus or the Fates or all the gods together had visited their wrath upon Meg McCaffrey. How could I have been so foolish? Whenever I angered the other gods, those closest to me were struck down. I'd lost Daphne because of one careless comment to Eros. I'd lost the beautiful Hyacinthus because of the quarrel with Zephyrius. Now my broken oath would cost Meg her life. No, I told myself, I wouldn't allow it. I was so nauseous I could barely walk. Someone seemed to be inflating a balloon inside my brain, yet I managed to stumble to the rim of Peter's geyser. Pete, I shouted, show yourself, you cowardly telemarketer. Water shot skyward with a sound like the blast of an organ's lowest pipe. In the swirling steam, the Palicos appeared, his mud-gray face hardened with anger. You call me a telemarketer? He demanded. We run a full-service PR firm. I doubled over and vomited in his crater, which I thought was an appropriate response. Stop that, Peter complained. I need to find Meg. I wiped my mouth with a shaky hand. What would the Myrmikos do with her? I don't know. Tell me or I will not complete your customer service survey. Peter gasped. That's terrible. Your feedback is important. He floated down to my side. Oh dear, your head doesn't look good. You've got a big gash on your scalp and there's blood. That must be why you're not thinking clearly. I don't care, I yelled, which only made the pounding in my head worse. Where is the Myrmiriki's nest? Peter wrung his steamy hands. Well, that's what we were talking about earlier. That's where Polly went. The nest is the only entrance. To what? To the Grove of Dodona. My stomach solidified into a pack of ice, which was unfair because I needed one for my head. The ant nest is the way to go to the grove. Look, you need medical attention, I told Polly. We should have a first aid station for visitors. He fished around in his non-existent pockets. Let me just mark the location of the Apollo cabin. If you pull out a brochure, I warned, I will make you eat it. Now, explain how the nest leads to the grove. Pete's face turned yellow, or perhaps that was just my vision getting worse. Polly didn't tell me everything. There's this thicket of woods that's grown so dense nobody can get in. I mean, even from above. The branches are like he laced his muddy fingers, then caused them to liquefy and melt into one another, which made his point quite well. Anyway, he pulled his hands apart. The grove is in there. It could have been slumbering for centuries. Nobody on the board of directors even knew about it. Then, all of a sudden, the trees started whispering. Polly figured those damn ants must have burrowed into the grove from underneath, and that's what woke it up. I tried to make sense of that. It was difficult with a swollen brain. Which way is the nest? Page 234. North of here, Pete said, half a mile. But man, you are in no shape. I must. Meg needs me. Pete grabbed my arm. His grip was like a warm, wet tourniquet. She's got time. If they carried her off in one piece, that means she's not dead yet. She will be soon enough. Nah, Before before he disappeared, he went into that deep nest a few times, only looking for the tunnel to the grove. He told me those Myrmikis like to goop up their victims and let them ripen until they're soft enough for the hatchlings to eat. I made an ungodlike squeak. If there had been anything left in my stomach, I would have lost it. How long does she have? 24 hours, give or take? Then she'll start to soften. It was difficult to imagine Meg McCaffrey softening under any circumstance, but I pictured her alone and scared, encased in insect goop, tucked in some ladder of a carcass in the ant's nest. For a girl who hated bugs, oh, Demeter had been right to hate me and keep her children away from me. I was a terrible god. Go get some help, Pete urged. The Apollo cabin can heal that wound. You're not doing your friend any favors by getting after us with the... You're not doing us any favors by charging after her and getting yourself killed. Why do you care what happens to us? The guys of God looked offended. Visitor satisfaction is always our top priority. Besides, if you find Polly while you're in there... I tried to stay angry at the Pelicos, but the loneliness and worry on his face mirrored my own feelings. Did Paulie explain how to navigate the ant's nest? Pete shook his head. Like I said, he didn't want me to follow him. The Myrmikis are dangerous enough, and if those other guys are still wandering around, other guys... Pete frowned. Didn't I mention that? Yeah, Paulie saw 3 humans heavily armed. They were looking for the grove too. My left leg started thumping nervously, as if it missed the three-legged race. How did Paulie know what they were looking for? My left leg started thumping nervously, as if it missed its three-legged race partner. How did Paulie know what they were looking for? He heard them talking in Latin. Latin? Were they campers? Pete spread his hands. I don't think so. Paulie described them like they were adults. He said one of them was the leader. The other two the other two addressed him as Imperator. The entire planet seemed to tilt. Imperator? Yeah, you know, like in Rome? Yes, I know. But suddenly too many things made sense. Pieces and puzzles. Suddenly, too many things made sense. Pieces of the puzzle flew together, forming one huge picture that smacked me in the face. The Beast, Triumvirate, Holdings, adult demigods completely off the radar. It was all I could do to avoid pitching forward into the geyser. Meg needed me more than ever, but I would have to do this right. I would have to be careful, even more careful than when I gave her the fiery horses of the sun, their yearly vaccinations. Pete, I said, do you still oversee sacred oaths? Well, yes, but then hear my solemn oath. The thing is, you've got this aura around you like you just broke a sacred oath. Maybe you'll want to swear on every eye. You got this aura around you like you just broke a sacred oath. Maybe one you swore on the river Styx. And if you break another oath with me, I swear that I will save Meg McCaffrey. I will use every means at my disposal to bring her safely home from the ant's lair. And this oath supersedes any previous oath that I have ever made or swear upon your sacred and extremely hot waters. Peter winced. Well, okay, it's done now, but keep it in mind that if you don't keep that oath, if Meg dies, even if it's not your fault, you'll face the consequences. I'm already cursed for breaking my earlier oath. What does it matter? Yeah, but see, those river stick oaths can take years to destroy you. They're like cancer. My oaths, Pete shrugged. If you break it, there's nothing I can do to stop your punishment. Wherever you are, a geyser will instantly blast through the ground at your feet and boil you alive. Ah, I tried to stop my knees from knocking. Yes, of course, I knew that. I stand by my oath. You've got no choice now. Right, I think I'll go get healed. I staggered off. Camp is the other direction, Peter said. I changed course. Remember to complete your survey online. Peter called after me. Just curious, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your overall satisfaction with the woods at Camp Half-Blood? We're on the top of page 237. I didn't reply. As I stumbled into darkness, I was too busy contemplating on a scale of 1 to 10 the pain I might have to endure in the near future. I didn't have the strength to make it back to camp. The farther I walked, the clearer that became. My joints were pudding. I felt like a marionette, and as much as I'd enjoy controlling mortals from above in the past, I did not relish being on the water at the end of the day. I did not relish being on the other end of the strings. My defenses were at level 0. The smallest hellhound or dragon could have easily made a meal of the great Apollo. If an irritated badger had taken issue with me, I would have been doomed. I leaned. I leaned against a tree to catch my breath. The tree seemed to push me away, whispering in a voice I remembered so well. Keep moving, Apollo. You can't rest here. I loved you, I muttered. Part of me knew I was delirious, imagining things only because of my conscience. But I swore I could see the face of the cowboys. Part of me knew I was delirious, imagining things only because of my concussion. But I swore I could not see the face of my beloved Daphne rising from each tree trunk. I could see the face of my beloved Daphne rising from each tree trunk as I passed. Her features floating under the bark like a mirage of wood. Her slightly cooked face, her slightly crooked nose, her offset green eyes, those lips I had never kissed but never stopped dreaming of. You loved every pretty girl, she scolded, and every pretty boy for that matter. Not like you, I cried. You were my first true love. Oh, Daphne. Well, wear my crown, she said. And repent. I remembered chasing her, her lilac scent on the breeze, her lift from the flitting through the dappled light of the forest. I pursued her for what seemed like years. Perhaps it was. For centuries afterwards, I blamed Eros. In a moment of recklessness, I had ridiculed Eros' archery skills. Out of spite, he struck me with a golden arrow. He bent all my love toward the beautiful Daphne. But that was not the worst of it. He also struck Daphne's heart with a lead arrow, leeching all possible affection she might have had for me. What do they do now? What people do not understand, Eros arrows can't summon emotion from nothing. They can only cultivate potential that is already there. Daphne and I could have been a perfect pair. She was my true love. She could have loved me. Daphne and I could have been a perfect pair. She was my true love. She could have loved me back. Yet thanks to Eros, my love-o-meter was cranked to 100%, while Daphne's feelings turned to pure hate, which is, of course, only the flip side of love. Nothing is more tragic than loving someone to the depths of your soul and knowing they cannot and will not ever love you back. The stories say I chased her on a whim, that she was just another pretty dress. The stories are wrong. When she begged Gaia to return to When she begged Gaia to turn her into a laurel tree in order to escape me, part of my heart hardened into bark as well. I invented the laurel wreath to commemorate my failure, to punish myself for the fate of my greatness, my greatest love. Every time some hero wins the laurels, I am reminded of the girl I can never win. After Daphne, I swore I would never marry. Sometimes I claimed that was because I couldn't decide between the 9 muses. A convenient story. The 9 muses were my constant companions, all of them beautiful in their own way, but they never possessed my heart like Daphne did. Only one other person ever affected me so deeply, the perfect Hyacinthus, and he, too, was taken from me. All these thoughts rambled through my bruised brain. I staggered from tree to tree, leaning against them, grabbing their lowest branches like handrails. You cannot die here, Daphne whispered. You have to work to. You made an oath. Yes, my oath. Meg needed me. I had to. I fell face forward in the icy mulch. How long I lay there, I'm not sure. A warm snout breathed in my ear. A rough tongue lapped my face. I thought I was dead, and Cerberus had found me at the gates of the underworld. Then the best pushed me over onto my back. Dark tree branches laced the sky. I was still in the forest. The golden visage of a lion appeared above me, his amber eyes beautiful and deadly. He licked my face, perhaps trying to decide if I would make a good supper. He licked my face, perhaps trying to decide if I would make a good supper. Poof! I spat mane fur out of my mouth. Wake up, said a woman's voice, somewhere to my right. It wasn't Daphne, but it was vaguely familiar. I managed to raise my head. Nearby, a second lion sat at the feet of a woman with tinted glasses and a silver and gold tiara in her braided hair. Her batik dress swirled with images of fern fronds. Her arms and hands were covered in henna tattoos. She looked different than she had in my dream. Very close. She inclined her head. Peace, Apollo. I don't want to bum you out, but we need to talk. That is the end of chapter 25.